In my world there is music and good vibes and laughter and lovers, adventure and friendship. We know who we are.
Welcome to Be the Wellness Podcast, where we help you master your body, mind, and the experience of life through insightful conversation, interviews with experts and thought leaders, all with a side of marital banter and some good old-fashioned humor.
Yes, we are your hosts, Adam and Vanessa Lambert, and we're committed to helping you live life fully expressed physically, mentally, and experientially. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and join the conversation.
Hello and welcome everybody to Be the Wellness Podcast. Adam and Vanessa Lambert are back in the United States.
We are officially for 5 minutes.
Actually, it's not true. When this goes out, we are no longer in the United States.
We have officially left the building.
Oh man, it's so confusing these days.
We were here for 5 days.
We were.
And now we are in New Zealand with our group leading our awesome adventure retreat over there. So if you guys haven't checked it out, follow us on Instagram. I'm sure we're having an epic time.
Yes.
And I'm sure it'd be fun to follow along and see what exactly we're doing at this moment.
Yeah, because it's cool over there.
It is very cool.
We're sure of it.
Yes, absolutely. We're sure we're having an amazing time. And we are super excited about our amazing guest today. It is the amazing James Swanwick. Mm-hmm. And, you know, James is known for a few things, but one of the main things that, especially in this paleo ancestral community, that he's known for are the Swanee blue blocker glasses. Yeah. And so we'll be talking about lots of good stuff, but he's also a New York-based ESPN anchor on SportsCenter. He's the author of Insider Journalism Secrets, co-founder of an international agency, Croc Media. He's been a print or TV journalist for over 20 years, writing for newspapers, magazines in the US, UK, and Australia. So he's all over the map, and he's also he's pretty passionate about a new program that he's running to help people quit drinking. Mm-hmm. So we've got lots of awesome stuff to talk about, and we're giving away on Instagram. If the idea of following us on Instagram just for the New Zealand trip wasn't enough, we are actually running a contest to give away a pair of the Swanee blue blockers.
Yeah, and you know, the blue blocker thing is not new. And actually, I have to come out and say that I've been, a little bit like, God, those glasses are lame for years.
We're going to tell you a secret right now, you guys. Just you, because only you're listening. But it's been a nerd-free zone in our house.
It has been,
until now.
and so, but not that we don't think there's something to it, but we've relied pretty heavily on Night Shift, and before that, F.Lux, Flux to remove the blue lights, and we just try to go about it from that perspective.
Yeah, totally.
However, we've been wearing the Swannies.
And it's made a difference.
And it's made a massive difference. Like, you know, so everybody probably has, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you see a lot of different Oura Ring stuff, but I've been wearing an Oura Ring for about 9 months, something like that. And, I've been tracking data back and forth in a lot of different ways. And I'll tell you what, the blue blocking glasses have made a significant difference in how early my resting heart rate drops. Yeah. And how early my heart rate variability comes up, and the amount of deep sleep that I get.
Ditto.
So, obviously there's a lot of peer-reviewed studies that show that exactly this, but there's nothing like just quite sort of seeing it for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And especially for us, we mentioned we're only home for 5 days right now. So you can imagine coming off of our Peru retreat and having 5 days to kind of get caught up, get work done, get reset, repacked, and all that good stuff. And then back on the road, we were pulling some longer nights and doing some, longer work days.
More screen time.
And that's more screen time. And honestly, as soon as the sun's gone down, both of us have been really religious about putting these blue blockers on. And the cool thing is when we're actually ready for bed, so maybe by the time we finish working, there's only about 30 minutes before it's time
Right.
for us to go to bed, we're able to actually fall asleep like right
Yeah.
away. Like it's kind of like we're still keeping that wind down routine, even though we're having to pull some longer hours right now with screen time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome. And yeah, you know, we were definitely resistant to joining the blue blocker cult,
Yeah.
but we've been made believers. So
Yeah.
here we
yeah.
go.
Yep. No, the science is there and the practical application is there.
And the data is there on our phones with our Oura Rings.
And you can feel it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I don't know what else you want.
Yep. We want nothing else.
Yeah.
So, folks, quick reminder before we get started with this podcast that if you have not signed up for the pre-sale list for Peru, tis the time, because we will be launching that to our pre-sale list. And this retreat is, you know, it's one of our most asked for retreats, and you know, it will sell out. So if you want to come with us in 2020, then make sure you get on that pre-sale list.
Yeah, and you can do that by clicking the link down in the bottom of the show notes. Or if you're not a link clicker, just go to our website, go to the experiences, go to Machu Picchu, Peru, and you'll find the spot.
Yep, absolutely. So we are super excited about doing that event again in 2020. And if, again, you haven't been following us on Instagram, you could go through and look at our stories and our Instagram posts. It's just such an epic place. So I mean, everyone should go there. Whether you go with us or not, that's up to you. But everybody should go because Peru is truly a magical place.
Agreed.
Awesome. So let's get to it. Without further ado, here's James.
And we're live. Welcome to the podcast, James.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's really great to have you. You know, we've been in this health and fitness world for a long time, and we've been seeing the amber colored glasses just, you know, creep into the scene and become more and more mainstream. And obviously that's something that you're best known for, is helping people sleep and using the amber colored glasses as a avenue to do so. So let's just start right there. How can you tell us about what made you decide to start a company to help people sleep with this particular, mode of assistance, so to speak?
Well, I was always an okay kind of sleeper. I mean, I wasn't great at it, but I wasn't horrible either. I would describe my sleep quality as being like a 6.5, maybe a 7 out of 10, in that some nights I had trouble falling asleep. Other nights I would toss and turn in the night. Some nights I'd fall asleep just fine and think I was sleeping just fine, but wake up in the morning feeling still tired and not understanding why. And then I was out in Palm Springs, California. I was in a hotel restaurant with a friend of mine, and he was wearing these really ugly pair of orange lens safety goggles, kind of like a Uvex pair that you might wear if you were going to a gun range or if you were protecting your eyes from gardening. And there was a table of very attractive women adjacent to ours, and they were looking at him kind of giggling. And I looked at my friend and I said, "Get those ridiculous things off. You look ridiculous and you're making me look ridiculous by association." And he said, "No, man, no, I'm trying to block the blue light." And I said, "Block the blue light? What are you talking about?" And he went on to explain that the lights from that hotel restaurant were emitting an artificial blue light. And at nighttime, when we look into that light or we're exposed to that light, it tricks our body and our brain into thinking that it's daytime, which means we do not produce as much melatonin, which ultimately means we have trouble sleeping. So I bought into this theory and went, okay, fair enough, I'll try this out. So I went back to Los Angeles. I pulled out an old pair of ski goggles that I wore every year when I went skiing in Park City, Utah, and which had these amber lens to it. And I put these goggles on. I started watching reruns of the TV series Mad Men on AMC. And what I noticed is that while I was watching this show through the goggles, I did noticeably feel sleepier. And then ultimately, when I removed the goggles, I fell asleep quicker, I slept deeper, and I woke up feeling noticeably refreshed. The only problem was that I didn't want to look like a meth chemist while protecting my eyes, and I didn't want to go out to a Hollywood or West Hollywood restaurant at nighttime wearing a pair of ski goggles. And that was when the idea hit me. How can I create a stylish pair of blue light blocking glasses that I can wear at nighttime, feel comfortable wearing, wear out to a restaurant where other people are looking at me and where other people would go, "Oh, they're nice glasses. Tell me about those," while still protecting my eyes from the blue light and ensuring that ultimately when I remove the glasses at bedtime, I get a great night's sleep. And so that is how I created this pair of stylish glasses called Swannies from my sleep company, Swanwick Sleep, and they've now helped almost 100,000 people around the world sleep better.
Nice. Yeah, so this is something that has, I mean, it's certainly bubbled up in multiple markets, right? I mean, Apple, for example, has their night shift, and I think there was a company called F.Lux at one point that was, prior to Apple doing that, allowed you to do that on your Mac and all of this. So maybe you could dive into this a little bit for us and just kind of and break down. I mean, so there's obviously the blue light that's coming in is a problem. Is there a difference in the way that the glasses block the light versus the way that a computer monitor or maybe even televisions nowadays are going to have this, where they're reducing or warming the color? Is there a difference in the way that operates?
Yes. So you referenced night shift on an iPhone. And what night shift does is that it reduces the blue light exposure in your phone at nighttime. And so your screen starts to look like it goes a yellow, orangey color in nature. Same with F.Lux that you were talking about. That is still around. You can download that on your computer. And at nighttime, you'll notice that your computer screen will start to go orange in color as it strips away the blue light. Now, both of those settings or features provide good protection. But when I say good, I mean probably a 3 out of 10 protection. Because while it blocks the blue light from your screen and your phone, it does nothing to block the blue light from your bathroom light, your kitchen light, your television screen, your microwave light, the refrigerator light, the speedometer light in your car, the McDonald's golden arches as you're driving down the freeway, the traffic light, the street light. There is too much light at night. And every time we are exposed to that light at night, we are not living the way that nature intended us to live. Our melatonin is suppressed and our sleep quality is compromised. So I get this all the time, people saying, oh, I don't need to wear blue light blocking glasses because I've got night shift and I've got flux. I'm like, well, hang on a second. That's great that you have night shift and it's great that you have flux. But what about all the other light? And as soon as you brush your teeth at nighttime with that bathroom light on, you are compromising your sleep. So the only way so far that we know of in the human universe as we occupy it at the moment to really ensure that you block blue light at night is to live your life by candlelight.
Right.
like literally, like go and build a fire in your backyard and have candles around your house and never expose yourself to electronic light again. But guess what? None of us are going to do that. None of us are going to do that. So what do? Well, the best way I know is wear a pair of blue light blocking glasses in the last hour before you go to sleep, alongside a host of other things. But wearing those glasses, having that protective orange lens on your eyes in that last hour before you sleep is the best way that I know of to ensure that you get a great night's sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that seems to be sort of, so let's say somebody's kind of a night owl and they're, well, I don't normally go to bed until 11 p.m. or whatever the number is. And so they can be exposed to the blue light from sundown all the way until 10. And in theory, that last hour seems to do the trick.
Well, look, the gold standard is, like I said, live your life by candlelight. Assuming that no one's going to do that, the next best thing you can do is, yes, wear a pair of blue light blocking glasses as soon as the sun goes down and keep them on right up until you go to sleep. Having said that, knowing human beings and being a human being the way that I am, I know that it's unrealistic to think that people are going to wear a pair of blue light blocking glasses for 4 hours at nighttime, right? So just because people just don't want to do it. The people want to take a shower, they want to go out, they want to dine, they want to exercise. There's all these kind of things that come up for why someone doesn't want to wear a pair of blue light blocking glasses for every single hour of nighttime. And so when I say an hour, I say an hour because that seems to be the comfortable amount of time that people wear these glasses consistently as a nightly routine. I don't mean one night a week, 2 nights a week, sporadically. I mean every single night. Just wear them like even 30 minutes to an hour before you go to sleep. Put them on, keep them on. Do not remove them until the final light has been switched off, and only then remove them in the dark and roll over and go to sleep.
So I'm seeing folks wearing them all day long, and maybe you can just explain, is there some benefit to actually filtering out the exposure to artificial light that we're exposed to as well? Or maybe you can explain why folks are wearing them also in the daytime.
Yes. Well, first of all, for context, the greatest or the biggest emitter of blue light in the world, do you know what it is?
I would say oh, well, yes, the sun. It's besides the sun, yeah.
Yeah, it's the sun. It's the sun. And here's the thing. We want to be exposed to blue light during the daytime, just not at nighttime, okay?
Right.
So during the daytime, it's absolutely fine to have blue light exposure. In fact, I encourage it. I want you to go outside, let your skin be touched by the sunlight. We need this to live. We need this to live our lives during the daytime. However, computer use, electronics use, there is a very concentrated amount of blue light which we are staring into only a foot away. Like if you're looking into your cell phone right now, you're about barely a foot away from this. There's barely a foot distance between your screen and your eyes. Likewise, if you're staring into a computer screen, there's barely a foot difference, right? Now that proximity to a concentrated amount of blue light and staring into that hours during the day, as we now do because we're all addicted to our electronics, that concentrated amount of blue light has been shown now to cause eye strains, headaches, fatigue, a lack of clarity and focus, macular degeneration. Like it's literally damaging our eyes. And so you ask the question, why do people wear these blue light blocking glasses during the day? Well, the answer is not to block all of the blue light, but to filter that blue light, to give ourselves temporary relief from that very concentrated amount of blue light that we're staring into each day. Now, there's 2 types of blue light blocking glasses that you can wear for daytime use. You can wear a pair of my glasses with the orange lens, the Swannies glasses. And no, it's not going to make you fall asleep because it is daytime and there's sunlight and there's all that light. But you can wear those orange lens blue light blocking glasses for daytime use sporadically throughout the day, which means, don't wear them for the first hour of your day and then put them on as you start to fatigue or feel a lack of clarity or focus. Wear them for 15, 20 minutes at a time, then take them off, put them on, take them off, put them on. That's fine. Likewise, there are other companies out there, including ours, by the way, that make a clear lens blue light blocking glass. Now, the clear lens, everyone thinks, oh, that's optimal. I would love to have the clear lens so I don't have to wear the orange lens. Well, yes and no. The clear lens it can be very effective for daytime use in that it filters the blue light. But the clear lens cannot help you sleep better because only an orange lens can block enough of the blue light spectrum that is responsible for disrupting your sleep. So just to summarize this, daytime use, you can use a clear lens or an orange lens. And nighttime use, it must be an orange lens.
Yeah. And when you're obviously the majority of the inspiration for this is to help people get better sleep. Are you, how have you been measuring that? Is it just anecdotally that people feel sleepier and they're able to fall asleep, or is there actual measurable results in terms of the sleep phases that people are achieving?
Well, first of all, there are dozens of sleep studies over the last decade, from Harvard University to Brown University to various sleep organizations who've tested people, given them blue light blocking glasses and monitored their sleep before and after. And overwhelmingly, the evidence has come back to suggest that blocking blue light with an orange lens does improve your sleep. Likewise, with our product, Swannies from Swanwick Sleep, we also did our own independent study. And we had a select group of people not wear the glasses for 30 days. Then we gave them our glasses for 30 days, and then we had them not wear the glasses for 30 days. And in the middle section, when they were wearing the glasses, they reported falling asleep 7 minutes quicker. They reported sleeping 11 minutes longer, and 82% of them reported that their sleep quality improved noticeably as a result of when they wore the glasses. And then also, I guess you could say, maybe not anecdotal evidence, but just the evidence of our customers, at least our Swannies customers. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews on Amazon and, elsewhere where customers say, oh my goodness, I've been wearing your glasses and my sleep has improved exponentially. Oh my goodness, your glasses have saved my marriage. And I'm like, saved your marriage? I don't understand. How have they saved your marriage? And then they say, well, my husband was always irritable because he was tired the whole time. And then he started wearing the glasses and he started sleeping better. And now he's actually calmer and happier. And
it's so funny. I was literally just making this claim last week. I was like, I bet you if people were getting more sleep, the divorce rate would go down. So I totally believe that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a thing. There's no doubt about it. And I know, from my perspective, it seems, and we talk a lot about sleep with our clients and just on this podcast and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, humans are very bad at telling when they're not getting good sleep, generally speaking. It's kind of like being drunk is kind of the way that I look at it. It's like you have one drink and you're like, you know what, I probably shouldn't drive. You have 2 or 3 drinks, and next thing you know, you're like, dude, I'm a great driver. Like the more tired you are, the worse you are at judging your state of condition,
Right.
And so I think it's fascinating, though, that when it gets better, you can tell. So you can't really tell that it's necessarily getting worse and worse and worse over time. But if you can do something like, fundamentally increase the level of, shorten the onset and increase the amount of melatonin production that you're having by doing something as simple as, wearing glasses for an hour before bed, and you wake up feeling remarkably better the next day, like that's something that people can grab onto, because they're like, wow, this made a difference for me,
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because people don't actually want to sleep better. That's not entirely true. What they want more than sleeping better is the benefits that you get from sleeping better. And the benefits that you get from sleeping better are you are more present with your children or your wife or husband or friends or colleagues. You have more energy. You feel happier. You have greater clarity. And people who are happier tend to make more money, and people who make more money tend to be healthier and happier, and everything is related. And sleep really is so important. And this idea that, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or I only, especially around entrepreneurs and business owners, are like, I only sleep 4 hours a night. I'm in the grind. I'm hustling. It's. That has been debunked as any kind of optimal way to live, because if you're not sleeping well, like I can tell, I can make a really great educated guess as to how happy you are in your life by how you rate your sleep quality. And if you're saying that your sleep quality is anything less than a 6 out of 10, I know that you're, generally speaking, feeling like life is only about a 6 out of 10, which in my view is you're just existing in the world. And so if you want to just exist, that's cool. Just keep doing the things that you're doing. But if you really want to live and thrive and blossom and see and get a glimpse of what it feels like, then focus on great sleep quality.
Amen. We always say it starts with sleep. So you're singing our language. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about this new endeavor and this sort of new side of the sleep story that you're talking about, which is alcohol. And you've started a 30-day challenge for folks to try quitting alcohol and see how it improves their life. And I'd just love to hear about what motivated that, and also some of the results you're seeing and some of the experiences folks are getting out of that new challenge.
Well, I was always a societally acceptable drinker, in as much as that I would have a glass or two of wine each night, maybe a beer here and there on the weekends. Some weekends I might drink, more than what would, some weekends I got drunk, but nothing, but nothing crazy, right? Nothing crazy. Just like the way that society would say, you know what, that's okay. Yeah, you're having a couple drinks, no big deal. On occasion, you're drinking a bit more. That's fine. But what I realized when I was in my mid-30s was that my drinking was actually really slowing me down. And this seemingly innocent glass of wine or two a night was actually costing me my health, because I'd put on about 25 pounds over 18 months. It just crept up on me. It was costing me my looks, because when you drink over time and you don't sleep as well, you have more noticeable wrinkles and your skin's dry. Not to mention, when you put on weight. I was making poor, generally kind of sloppy health choices, in the sense that when I drank, a drink or two a night, I was more inclined to want to eat more food, because drinking makes you hungrier, and it actually makes you crave more carb-laden foods. So when I was out, for example, if the waiter would come out and offer me dessert, I would more often than not say yes, rather than no, because I was like craving a sugar hit, because I'd had a glass of wine or two. Because my alcohol disrupts your sleep quality, I wasn't sleeping as great as I could. And so I wasn't being as successful in my career as I could be, because I was just operating at, again, like a 6 or 6.5 out of 10. Whereas if I was alcohol free, I would have been operating at about an 8 or a 9 out of 10. So I just made the decision in 2010 to quit drinking for 30 days, just to see what it would feel like. And in 30 days, I lost 13 pounds. My skin improved almost overnight. People started saying to me, wow, you look great. Just a warning, you do get better looking when you quit drinking. I slept better. I had more clarity and focus. And during that time, I actually had an opportunity to audition to become a SportsCenter anchor on ESPN. SportsCenter is like the most iconic sports news TV show there is. And because I had that clarity and focus from being alcohol-free, I went for that job and I nailed it. And I ultimately became a SportsCenter anchor on ESPN, which realized a childhood dream of mine, to host a TV show. And if I had been drinking during that time, even the seemingly innocent drink or two, I don't really think I would have got that job, quite frankly. I think I probably would have just phoned it in, or let fear get in the way, or just stayed in mediocrity. So anyway, I just enjoyed the effects of being alcohol-free so much that I just kept going and going and going. And I literally have not touched a drop of alcohol since 2010. And during that time, people kept asking me, is it true you don't drink? How do you socialize without drinking? How do you have fun without drinking? And so about 4 years ago, I created a program called 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge, which has now helped tens of thousands of people around the world quit drinking for at least 30 days. And then later, I created a program called Project 90, which specifically helps entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, professionals quit drinking for at least 90 days, live the alcohol-free life. And that's called Project 90. And people in that program have been making more money in their business, again, saving their marriages in some cases, sleeping better, looking better, going down the health route where they're now experimenting with things like meditation or yoga, doing, wearing blue light blocking glasses, for example. And it's just completely transformed people's lives. And you don't have to be an alcoholic in order to choose to go alcohol free. You can actually just be a societally acceptable drinker and choose to go alcohol free. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting to talk about this, right? So, like in the health world, when we're comparing diets, for example, the healthy user bias is something that gets looked at a lot, right? And you're saying, well, is it really that organic bread is better than non-organic bread? Or is it that people who buy organic bread are generally taking better care of themselves anyway, right? And so it's almost like with the alcohol piece, you're sort of hacking that system. You're sort of like hacking the healthy user bias. You're saying, I'm going to stop drinking because, for any of the reasons that you just listed, but then all of the beneficial health effects that come along with, stopping drinking just kind of, start to snowball into that, right? Like you're sleeping better. When you're sleeping better, now you're making better food decisions. And when you're making better food decisions, you're losing weight and you're looking better. And, so it's just that's a really interesting way to, sort of lever yourself into better health. Like I would have never thought to approach it from that direction, but I could exactly see how that would just snowball into a much better life,
Well, when I gave up drinking, it opened up a cascade of other healthy habits. Mm-hmm. You know how people talk about, smoking is the gateway drug, or cocaine is the gateway drug, or marijuana is the gateway drug, which means like as soon as you start taking that drug, then all of a sudden you start taking a whole lot of other drugs.
Yeah.
Well, likewise, quitting alcohol is the gateway to a whole host of other healthy habits. Mm-hmm. And when I just eliminated that one habit, just that one habit of drinking, here's what happened. I joined a gym. I ran a half marathon. I did a 10-day silent meditation called Vipassana. I started journaling things every day that I was grateful for. I started eating the paleo lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I started going to health conferences. I started attracting a much higher caliber of person into my life, people who were growth-minded, people who were interested in self-development, people who were interested in deeper, less trivial conversations. I started speaking on stages at health conferences. I got my dream job hosting SportsCenter and ESPN. I took a communication course so I can be an effective communicator. I took a leadership course on how to be an effective leader. I studied mobility and posture, and so forth and so forth and so forth, right? So just doing that one thing, just eliminating alcohol, completely opened my whole life up to a whole host of other growth-minded, health-conscious practices. And, my whole life was transformed because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a really interesting way to look at this, because I think often, and you kind of alluded to this earlier, like you don't need to be an alcoholic, and so in order for for alcohol to be affecting your life in a way that if you quit, things would get better, right? And I think we have a tendency here in the States anyway, for sure, to have this sort of like negative connotation around alcoholism, or some sort of like moral judgment on people who can't handle their alcohol, or, and then kind of even on the like ultimate flip side of that is, and this is something that I've experienced, because I just I'm not a huge drinker. It's not, I feel terrible. It doesn't, I know it ruins my sleep. I don't think that I'm like a super cool person when I'm drinking. You know what I mean? There's just like nothing really good that goes along with it. Yeah. You run into this sort of like backwards feedback thing where you go out and people say, hey, what do you want to drink? I'm like, I'm not drinking. And now all of a sudden it's a thing. You're like, well, what do you mean you're not drinking? And what does that, so what does that mean about me? And so I'm curious, since you've been running these programs for a while, and especially in this entrepreneurial space where you're out, you're meeting with people, you're hobnobbing, you're schmoozing, you're golfing, you know what I mean? All of these entrepreneur related things that almost always have alcohol with them. What do you tell people, or how do you coach people into, socializing in that environment without, making it super weird that you're not drinking?
Yeah, it's the number one question I get in both of my programs, the 30-day no alcohol challenge and Project 90. How do I have fun without alcohol? How do I do business without alcohol? How do I go to the corporate golf day at work without alcohol? How do I do Friday night drinks after work without alcohol? And what I say to them is this: the way with which you share with people that you're alcohol free is far more important than you simply telling them that you're alcohol free. So let me give you two scenarios here. Number one, oh no, I'm not drinking at the moment. No, I can't drink. I'm taking a break. No, I have to quit. No, you guys have fun. No, I can't. I'm doing this 30-day challenge at the moment. I can't. I've just got 7 days to go. No, I can't. I'm not drinking. So that's a very heavy kind of way of letting people know that you're not drinking. And what you're doing is that you're trying to convince yourself and the others that you are depriving yourself of something fun by not drinking. And the implication here is that drinking is fun and drinking is pleasurable. And when you say, I can't drink, I shouldn't drink, it's not good to drink, I've got to stop drinking, you're convincing yourself that alcohol is fun and pleasurable. It isn't, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you're convincing yourself that you're depriving yourself of something fun and pleasurable by not drinking, which you aren't. Mm-hmm. Second scenario, someone says, "Here, can I get you a drink?" "Oh, no, thanks, I'm good. I'm not drinking at the moment." "Oh, what do you mean you're not drinking? We're celebrating. Go on, have one drink." No, I'm good, but watch me get drunk on this soda water. I will go toe to toe with you on this water. Let's go. I know. I'm the alcohol-free guy. Yeah. It's like, "Oh no, I'm not drinking at the moment. I feeling good actually. I'm just taking a bit of a break. I'm feeling good. But yeah, water, ice, piece of lime would be great. Thanks." And so now you're coming at it from a very positive, powerful position. You're not fazed by not drinking. You don't feel you're depriving yourself of anything by not drinking. And you even, can make fun of yourself a little bit and joke along with people that you are the non-alcoholic guy or you're the teetotaler. Make fun of yourself. The point here is this, is that when you are light and open and fun and confident and present, and you don't care that you're not drinking, and then the other people see that you don't care that you're drinking, and they also don't feel that you're judging them for drinking, then everyone can just relax and just get on with it and have fun. And you can be the most charming, have the most fun, have the most conversations, do the most deals, and do it all while drinking water, ice, and a piece of lime.
Yeah.
So, okay, obviously people use drinking as a way to relax, as a way to, just take a little bit of the edge off the social pressure or what have you. And obviously, one of the big reasons that people have a hard time quitting drinking is that it does help them relax. It helps them be maybe more social or maybe more talkative. What do you tell people who maybe have a hard time socializing and really do use it as a way to break the ice?
Well, the idea that it reduces stress or anxiety is actually it's actually a myth. It actually causes more stress and anxiety. The very thing that you're drinking that you think is relieving you of your stress is doing nothing of the sorts. What it's doing is that it's relieving you of your alcohol withdrawal. And you mistake that for pleasure. You mistake it for pleasure. Right? So the pleasure that you feel from drinking is not the effect of alcohol, it's the relief of your craving. And then as we drink more, the lows and the highs get lower. Okay, so drinking doesn't really give you pleasure. That's a complete myth. And what drinking does is that it keeps you in a vicious cycle of stress and anxiety. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to drink to relieve you of your stress and anxiety. You just want to be relieved of your stress and anxiety. And you can do that 1 million different ways. 1 million infinity different ways you can relieve yourself of stress and anxiety, including drinking water, jumping up and down, breathing, going for a walk around the park, phoning a friend, having a conversation, going to the movies, reading a book, moving your arms up in the air, putting your shoulders back, putting your chest forward, and so forth and so forth and so forth and so forth. Again, you don't want to drink to relieve you of your stress and anxiety. You just want to relieve yourself of your stress and anxiety, and you can do that a million different ways.
Nice.
Love it. Yeah. It's so interesting because when I hear a 30-day alcohol challenge, I'm like, oh, that's just life. We do drink, but it's like to go 30 days for us is just normal life. You know what I mean? So it makes me wonder how many people out there really are drinking every single day. And it sounds like it's most people, right?
Most people are out there drinking daily, most people. But what is interesting, though, is that I have noticed there has been a general shift in awareness and education around alcohol to the extent where this alcohol-free movement is starting to gather steam. And in fact, Americans are increasingly laying off the booze. And so new data shows that US alcohol volumes dropped 0.8% last year, which is slightly more than the 0.7% decline in 2017. Beer was the worst hit. So volumes of beer were down 1.5% in 2018. And growth in wine and spirits slowed as well. Now, the fall in alcohol volume seems to reflect a growing trend toward mindful drinking or complete abstinence, and particularly amongst millennials. Okay?
Yeah.
So, the alcohol makers are trying to fight back. They're trying to diversify. They're turning to kombucha, and they're making spiked coconut waters, and they're wanting teetotalers to start mixing cocktails with a very pricey alcohol-free gin alternative. So, it's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
But the awareness is increasing, and people are now starting to feel much more confident about just even telling people that they're free of alcohol, that they're alcohol free, without feeling like there's some stigma around. Because most people think if they tell people that they don't drink, that the first thing the other people are going to think is like, oh, he must be an alcoholic, or she must be an alcoholic. She must have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
Why do you think millennials specifically are laying off the drinking?
Well, I think a couple things. We have such a plethora of education and information at our fingertips now, which is, from our phones. And so the awareness level of healthy practices is now just increased exponentially from years ago. So people's education levels are now increased. And also, I think because there's now a greater sense of community amongst millennials, and like we've got Facebook and Instagram, and we share and all these kind of things, like we're now able to share a lot more of our healthy lifestyles with other people, which then enables other people to be inspired by their healthy lifestyles. And so I think that it's going to continue to increase over the years, this awareness level of health and vitality.
Yeah. That actually makes total sense. You think about, even just like the visual images, like I can think back of the college days where I did probably the majority of my just sloppy drinking, but when I was in college, phones didn't have cameras in them, and so there were no photos of the nights out at the bars, and now everything is documented, so like people are faced very clearly with like what it looks like to quote unquote go have fun at the club and get wasted, so it's like it's very present, and it'd be interesting to see if somebody's actually studied that, like, ooh, yeah, nobody really wants to be confronted with this the next morning. Super interesting.
Yeah.
So alcohol, obviously, I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit, but what about other substances? What's your take on those?
Well, I mean, other substances including smoking, you mean? Or
I mean, like marijuana, plant medicine, things along. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So look, I don't really have an opinion on those things. I'm not as well versed on those as I am with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've read anecdotally as well, it seems like small amounts of marijuana can be very effective for some people. Plant medicine, I've done ayahuasca a couple of times. It wasn't this huge, profound thing for me, as it seems to be for many others. Mm-hmm. I know many people who've had profound benefits from doing plant medicine. Look, I think personalized health is going to be the biggest trend that we see over the coming decades. Mm-hmm. Where and what that really means is like everyone's different. What works for one person may not work for another. Smoking a joint nightly might be fantastic for someone who suffers from, post-traumatic stress disorder, or even just someone who doesn't. It could be great for someone. And then likewise, for people like me, it just doesn't agree with me. I've had it before. I hate it. It doesn't agree with me. I'm like, okay. Likewise, coffee. I mean, coffee, for some people, it can be absolutely fine. You can have coffee. For other people, it's just too much of a stimulant, causes them to freak out, and it's not good. So likewise, you've got, things like bulletproof coffee, where you're putting grass-fed butter in your coffee, and there's these high fat diets like keto and things. Look, that's great. They can be great, but for someone else who has a completely genetic makeup, it can be awful.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, but what I can tell you, what I can definitely tell you about alcohol is this: alcohol is a poison. It is a toxin. And when you put that poison and toxin into your body, it is going to affect you. In fact, the World Health Organization said recently that there is not any amount of alcohol that has any benefit to you whatsoever. It's pretty remarkable. Not one bit of alcohol that has any nutritional or any kind of emotional or any kind of physiological benefit to you whatsoever. And let me just say this. Do you know where the word alcohol actually comes from?
I do not.
It comes from an Arabic term. And the Arabic term is two words, al-kuhul. And al-kuhul in Arabic means body-eating spirit.
Mm.
So the very word alcohol is a body-eating spirit. So when you drink that alcohol, it eats away at you. It eats away at your body. It eats away at your spirit. It eats away at your soul. And even if you're having one seemingly innocent drink, those toxins will remain in your body for 7 to 10 days. You will have more visible signs of aging on your face the next day. They did a study out of the UK that shows that there are more visible signs of wrinkles and crow's feet on your face if you have a drink the night before. Your sleep quality will be compromised. We already talked about what happens when your sleep is compromised. You eat more prone to diabetes, more prone to cancer. And then if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, like excessive amounts, then we really see a deterioration in our relationships. Mm-hmm. You know, with people saying the wrong thing, doing stupid things, irritable, violent, depression. So I can't really speak to those other things that you mentioned, like marijuana and plant medicine, but I can definitely speak to alcohol, and I can tell you that no amount of alcohol is good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's something that we still kind of swim upstream with some of this sometimes, because we still have folks who are saying, well, they said that, 1 or 2 glasses of red wine is good, is good for your heart health or blood, whatever there's been several different iterations of that. And I think that that's all pretty well been debunked, at this point. I mean, and at that point, it wasn't the alcohol within the wine that was helpful. It was a thought that there were some polyphenols or something in there. And I think at this point, like you're saying, there's not really a leg to stand on, for any of that stuff. And so I'm glad to hear, that you have such a strong voice here, because this is something that we see in coaching our clients, and especially folks who are trying to sort out body composition changes, and fat loss. And man, sleep is like the number one thing that's going to get you there, and alcohol is the number one thing that's going to keep you from getting there. And so it's I'm glad to hear that you're beating this drum in the way that you are.
Thank you. Yeah, there was a very famous study decades ago that came out of France that said that the French had this greater cardiovascular health because they had a glass of red wine at night. Completely flawed, inaccurate. Has been absolutely debunked. These cardiovascular benefits of red wine it's been aggressively pushed by the alcohol industry, and the alcohol industry claims that a small amount of alcohol is in fact good for you. Well, let me tell you, it isn't. And then it says a small amount of alcohol isn't bad for you. It is. And like I said, the World Health Organization says there's no safe level of alcohol consumption. Every single drink you consume increases your risk of cancer and other health conditions such as liver disease.
Right.
So yeah, not to go on all doom and gloom here, because we want to be positive and positive about this. Listen, if you're having an occasional glass of wine, are you going to be fine? Yeah, you're going to be just fine, probably, right? But then here's the way I look at it. Why even have the occasional glass of wine? Because then you're identifying the occasional glass of wine as something fun and pleasurable. But the truth is that you can have a romantic dinner with a loved one without the bottle of wine. You can go to the football game and enjoy the game with your friends without the beer. You can toast the bride and groom at a wedding without pouring a glass of champagne. You can celebrate the birth of your son or your daughter without having to light a cigar or or do have a glass of champagne. You can go out to a nightclub if you're the type of person who goes to nightclubs, and you can dance on tables without ordering a bottle. You can do all that stuff.
Right.
And it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper, let me tell you.
Yes, especially in LA, as we know. So, really what we're looking at here, though, is that a lot of people are, quite frankly, addicted to alcohol. If it's something that's a nightly routine and it's a weekend routine, you quite likely have a physical addiction to it at this point. Maybe as just kind of a final note for folks while we wrap up, what do you say to folks to help with the actual physical addiction and breaking that cycle?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. Well, look, first of all, let me give you some of the options that are out there on how to deal with that. If you feel like you're literally addicted and you are what society would deem to call you an alcoholic, then I would definitely say seek professional advice. Go and see a doctor. You can go to these rehabilitation clinics, but just a warning, like there's a very famous one called Passages in Malibu. Have a guess how much it costs to go and do a 30-day inpatient treatment there.
Oh, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $60,000 or something, right? It's
$112,000.
Okay, double
inflation.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
$112,000 for a 30-day stay at Passages in Malibu. That's how much it is. $112,000. Now, so if you have that kind of money, then yeah, that might be good. But also, I don't think that you need that. Alcoholics Anonymous is completely free. Like, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. But I can tell you that Alcoholics Anonymous and rehabilitation centers have less than a 10% success rate of getting people to get off alcohol and stay quit for anything longer than a year. So you have a 1 in 10 chance of curing your addiction if you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and you have a 1 in 10 chance of paying $112,000 for a 30-day stay at Passages in Malibu. So they're the two, like inpatient or outpatient treatment centers and Alcoholics Anonymous, they're the two most popular ones, right? And even then you have a 1 in 10 chance of quitting and staying quit. That's pretty scary, just knowing that. Like, it's pretty depressing. Seeking medical advice from a doctor, I would definitely suggest that would be your first port of call. And now, again, I am not a doctor, so I want to make sure that what I say next, everyone's clear. But before I say what I'm going to say, I am not a doctor. I am just a guy who quit drinking for lifestyle choices in 2010, and I found a system that worked for me to stay quit. And then since then, I have shared my system for staying quit with thousands of people around the world, and people have stayed quit. So here's what I'm about to say. In my Project 90 program, which specifically helps entrepreneurs and business owners and executives quit drinking for at least 90 days, I have an 82% success rate of people who quit drinking for at least 90 days. And the 18% who are unable to stay quit for the 90 days, they do a reset, they go again, and then they complete their 90 days. So they have one hiccup, and then they complete it. Now, and mine doesn't cost $112,000, and it's also not free. So I'm just saying, I just want to give you guys, an idea there of what is open to you. I think that what separates what I do from AA and from treatment centers is that I make mine fun, and I have there be a community, and I have people take action rather than avoid action. So instead of saying, don't drink alcohol, I say, do drink water. Instead of saying, I shouldn't drink alcohol, I have to quit alcohol, I say, I get to drink water. I get to drink soda water. And we do this in a really fun community where we celebrate, we high five, we laugh, we joke, we do all of this kind of stuff. And I think that coming at it from a positive way and doing it with accountability, appropriate accountability, is really what ensures the greatest success.
Nice.
I love that. And I hope folks listening will really consider doing this, especially folks who their initial knee-jerk reaction is, I could never do that. then this is for you. This is especially for you because I think that so many people just have succumbed to this thing of alcohol just being a constant in their life and don't even know, just like when you first change your diet and start eating healthier, you don't even know what's on the other side of it because you've never felt that good. And so I really hope folks out there who think that it's not possible really take the challenge.
Yeah, thank you. And again, you don't need to be an alcoholic to take the challenge.
No, absolutely. But I really feel like, it's just an amazing thing for folks out there who just think they could never do it to really know like it's possible. And, obviously everyone could use 30 days or 90 days. But I think, if you're hearing this and just thinking it's impossible for you, what an amazing accomplishment that would be for someone to achieve that.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. So thank you so much for being with us, James. Where can folks find you, find all the challenges, all the great stuff, and of course the Swannies?
Yeah, I'll start with the Swannie. So you can go to swanwicksleep.com, SWANWICK. My last name is Swanwick. The glasses are called Swannies. We've got Swannies blue light blocking glasses for kids, for people who have prescription glasses, for men, for women. And then we're also on Amazon. And then the 30-day no alcohol challenge is at 30daynoalcoholchallenge.com. And then Project 90 is at jamesswanwick.com/project90. And feel free to follow me on Instagram, which is at James Swanwick. And you can ask me any question you want about sleep or alcohol, and I'd be happy to reply to you and give you some advice there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, James. And we got our glasses. We've been wearing them. And I will say, I definitely feel sleepier at night.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, like I said in the beginning, we've been using Flux and Night Shift and all of those things, and you put those on, and it's like 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh,
I'm tired.
My eyes are kind of tired. It's amazing. Thanks again, James.
Of course, and thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. Hope to see you soon, and thanks again. We'll see you soon. Bye.
And that's a wrap, folks. I hope you guys got something out of that podcast.
Yes, and hopefully that is a pair of Swannies blue blockers.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already pressed order on the internets, go over to Instagram and enter our contest for the giveaway because we will be giving away a pair to a lucky winner. So, hey, maybe that lucky winner is you, and we hope it is.
Yeah, get yourself some stylish Swannies.
Get yourself some sleep, yo.
Some Swannies for your sleepiness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, of course, remember to join that pre-sale list for Peru. And we'll see you guys soon. We love you. Bye.